Good afternoon. Welcome to the UNC Charlotte Undergraduate Admissions Webcast. My name is Blake Morgan, and I'm a junior operations and supply chain management major from Gastonia, North Carolina. So about for the next hour, we're pretty much going to accept all your guys' questions. And I also brought 3 of my really good friends. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and introduce the panel.
Hi, I'm Emily Murphy. I am a senior English education major here at UNC Charlotte. I'm originally from Highlands, North Carolina, up in the mountains, but I'm happy to now call Charlotte home.
Hi everyone, my name is Stephanie Burrows. I'm a sophomore marketing analytics major with a Spanish minor, and I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland.
Hey everyone, my name is Caitlin. I'm a junior here at UNC Charlotte, majoring in business management from Albemarle, North Carolina.
Awesome, thanks guys. So one of the really cool things about coming to UNC Charlotte is obviously that you have a story of getting here. So Emily, how did you get here to UNC Charlotte? What is your story?
I originally came to UNC Charlotte on a campus tour, just kind of checking things out, and everyone here was incredibly friendly and really helpful, and the campus is beautiful, a lot of greenery, really nice new facilities, and I just kind of fell in love with the atmosphere. I really love the opportunities that Charlotte offered as far as networking and internships. Being right here near the city offered a lot of opportunities, so coming from a small town, that's what I was really looking for getting out of my college career, so that's what UNC Charlotte offered me.
Awesome.
For me, when I looked at schools, coming from up north, I kind of looked at schools all up and down the East Coast, and I always believed in kind of getting that feeling and that kind of chills that you get when you say, okay, this is going to be home. So UNC Charlotte was actually the last school that I visited. I think I applied to about 10 schools and visited many more than that. But when I came here and I looked at the SAC, the Student Activity Center, and looking at the Student Union, and I really just got that feeling, and I knew that it just fit. I felt at home, and I felt like I was very comfortable here, more comfortable than I was on any other campus.
Well, so I'm a business major, so Charlotte, the city, is actually the second largest banking capital of the world. So for me, it had great potential for me as a business major, so it was one of my top choices to come here.
And I'd probably say the main reason why I decided to come to UNC Charlotte was a lot of schools, the history has already been made. And I guess you could say specifically for UNC Charlotte, the history is currently happening. So you're able to be a part of UNC Charlotte. So that way when you look back, you can say, I literally helped make this university great. So yeah. And then the second question, so we just talked about how you came to UNC Charlotte. How have you gotten involved with the university?
I've gotten involved in many ways over my 4 years here. I'm a part of Greek Life. I've been a part of several leadership organizations on campus that have given me the opportunity to do service activities and go out and give back to the community and be a leader on campus. I'm involved with the Niner Guides, giving tours around campus and helping out with open house and large events, Admitted Students Day, things like that, that I really enjoy being able to give back to the university. And I also have been involved with Relay for Life and other service organizations. So those have given me a great opportunity to get involved in the community and also the community of UNC Charlotte.
I've kind of had the opportunity to get involved in every different aspect of campus. So I'm currently a resident advisor in Hunt Hall, which basically means I'm in charge of about 40 residents out of the building holds about 500. But I specifically have 40 to myself, and I kind of help first-year students kind of get acclimated to the college life experience. With that, I am also a UNC Charlotte 49er cheerleader, so I am at all the football games, all the basketball games. We have our spring game coming up soon, so I'm excited about that. So just kind of being involved in that as being in housing and also being involved in athletics. And like Emily said, I'm a Niner Guide as well, so I give tours every week.
So for me, I joined the business learning community as a freshman here at UNC Charlotte. And then now I am just currently a leader. I've worked my way up into leadership positions throughout different organizations, and UNC Charlotte is a great campus, and we have over 350 student organizations here, and so I've just slowly worked my way up to be leader in some of those.
Awesome. And one of the key ways, I'm very much like Stephanie, I got involved in a lot of different departments, different aspects. I've been a resident advisor, I had a job at the student union, I've had a lot of leadership positions, both with the Niner Guide program, our tour guide program for the university, as well as some campus ministries and a lot more. So really awesome. And now we're going to go ahead and bring the questions from you guys. So one of the very first questions I see is a little bit about housing. So what is a learning community? Caitlin, you said you were in one, is that right?
So as a learning community, try to fit it briefly and get it to you the best way possible. So again, I'm a business major. I joined the business learning community. And so a learning community is where you basically live in the same room or the same hallway as other students who are in your same major. They're also non-major specific learning communities, so there could just be a leadership learning community. So if they don't have one for your particular major, they have one that you can just join anyway. But For me, it had great opportunities if I needed some help with homework. My roommate was in the same similar 3 out of 5 classes with me. Studying for tests, my whole hallway would go down the hall and meet in the study rooms in the dorm, and we would study together for tests. So I highly recommend the learning communities for sure.
Awesome. And then, Emily, you said you were part of Greek Life, right? Mm-hmm. So does Greek Life have their own housing accommodations?
Greek Life does. We have Greek Row, which is up on the north side of campus or so. All 7 of the Panhellenic sororities have their own house in there, and one of the IFC fraternities has a house there as well, so that option is available. And their houses, just like you would find, they've got the nice, brick columns, and it's a good place for the Greek community to hang out.
Yeah, they are really nice too, especially whenever they're inside campus. Mm-hmm. And then, Stephanie, you said you were a resident advisor in Hunt Hall.
Yes.
A question was just asked, can freshmen live in Hunt Hall?
Yes.
Yeah?
Freshmen can live in Hunt Hall. I know previous years it was not what I would say. I lived there my freshman year, so I definitely say freshmen can live there. Most of the students on my hall right now are freshmen. There are a few upperclassmen, obviously my roommates and a few other people, but you can live there. It's not specific to any classification.
Awesome. And then also another question was just asked about the light rail. So the Lynx Blue Line extension will be coming around August 2017. Hopefully with construction, everything will go well. And then who's from a small town? Oh, so 2 of you. So one really cool question was just asked, coming from a small town, I'm a little terrified to come to UNC Charlotte, mainly because it's so big. What would be the best way to adjust to UNC Charlotte?
I think what my advice would be I graduated in a class of 38 from a public school in North Carolina. So when you say small town, I feel you, small town. But coming from that, I grew up in Atlanta and then moved there, so I didn't have as much as a transfer process, getting used to being back in Charlotte because it was just kind of going back to the big city. But it was still an adjustment. My suggestion would just be willing to branch out. Definitely living on campus really, really helped me because I was able to meet people who were also freshmen, who are also new here, also trying to figure out where we are in our point of life and becoming college students. So they're kind of figuring out everything with me. Getting involved from day one is also really important, and that's important to anyone coming to college, I believe, wholeheartedly. Not just if you're coming from a small town, but coming from a small town, UNC Charlotte is a large university, not gonna lie. But once you're here and you establish yourself on campus and you get involved in your major and some of these other organizations like we are, it really starts to feel like a really small community. The 4 of us have been working together and known each other for quite a few years, and really does kind of form like a small family. So getting involved in those things and really finding somewhere where you click really, really helps with that.
Do you have anything to add, Caitlin?
I mean, similar story. Small hometown. My high school was actually a small charter school with 55 students in my graduating class, so a little bit bigger than yours. But so they actually told me, my advisor actually told me, Caitlin, this is a huge university, you won't like it. And I think by telling you how I've staked my claim here, it's possible to come here and love it. For sure, getting involved, getting active on campus, staying active on campus. The learning community, you get 30 instant friends. So those 30 people are in at least 3 out of your 5 classes. And so now as a junior, I don't go to a single class without knowing someone in the class. Even if we didn't register together, I'll happen to be in class on day 1 and go, oh my gosh, there's so-and-so. And so we know each other. And so, yeah, but like Emily said, definitely Greek Life's a great way to get involved. And then the 350 organizations to meet new friends is great too.
Awesome. Now, Stephanie, you said you were a cheerleader, right? Yeah. So you have a lot of experience with the football games, right? I do. So with freshmen, how does the ticket process work for football games?
The ticket process is super simple. Basically, all you have to do is go online and register and say that you want a ticket, and then about a week later they'll come back and email you so you can claim your ticket, and that's really important to do. I've never not been able to get a ticket for any of the sporting events. Football, I know football is a big one, basketball is big as well, soccer, anything like that. I've never not been able to get a ticket for any game. I think that's something really important to know. As well as the student tickets are free, and depending on the sport, your guest tickets may have a price on them. I know football has a price. Basketball might have a price. I'm not positive, but 9 times out of you're going to get a ticket. So that's really important to know.
Awesome. And then is anyone involved in honors? Because it's a really big opportunity for students to have. So Emily, you're involved in honors? And then Stephanie, are you? No? Okay. Okay. First one. So yeah, do you want to talk a little bit about that for honors?
Just the general honors?
Yeah, about the University Honors Program.
Okay, yeah, I'm in the University Honors Program, and it's a really awesome program. It's It's non-disciplinary, so it's not specific to any major, so it encompasses anybody on campus that wants to. So as an English major, they didn't have an English honors, so it was great for me to still be able to get that experience. They get you involved in that from day one. You have different classes that you take for some of your general education courses. And I know coming from high school, it sounds like honors is going to be harder, it's going to be a lot more work. It's really not. When you come to college, the only difference with honors is that your classes are generally going to be a lot smaller, and they're going to be a lot more discussion-based and a lot more community-based. So you're not going to have large lecture classes with honors classes. They're going to be under about 25, 20 people. So you can really get personal, you can get to know the professors, great networking. And then every semester we also are involved in community service hours. We get to do social events. We get to go to things with people on campus like the deans and the chancellor. So it's really great networking, but it's also really rigorous. So being academically minded is really helpful. And then as you kind of go through the program, you meet a lot of people, you get that structure, and then come your senior year, you're ready to complete your senior portfolio and graduate with honors like I am. So it's a really, really great program if you're looking for that kind of community.
Awesome. So there's a lot of spots for us current students to be able to meet and greet other and a lot of new people. What would you say is the number one spot where you go to socialize here on campus?
Anywhere that has food.
And with that, say your favorite place to eat.
My favorite place to eat is Bojangles, only because I'm from the north, and the closest Bojangles to me is an hour away in Washington, D.C. So definitely Bojangles, and I feel like I've had my fair share of Bojangles this year, but that's okay. But yes, I definitely think that's going to be your best place to go and hang out with people, just because everyone's going to be hungry. It's college. So you can just kind of say, okay, I'm going to Bojangles at 4. Do you want to come with me? And I promise you one of your friends will say yes, without a doubt. You might even see them there. You might even not even have to tell them, and they might be there.
See, my favorite place. That's a hard one. I'm a very social person. I would say my favorite place to hang out would probably be, I really like the area between the College of Health and Human Services and the College of Education.
Really nice.
I'm in the College of Education all the time, frequently, so that's kind of my area, but that courtyard is really, really nice. They've got benches and grass, so if it's a nice day, you can bring a blanket and lay out on the grass, and that's where everyone's coming and going because it's right in front of the Union, so it's close to all the food as well if you need to pop in for a snack. But it's a really, really pretty area. They've done a really nice job with keeping it nice, so I really like hanging out there with my friends. And that's usually where Rent-A-Puppy is, so if Rent-A-Puppy is going on, you can pay $5 and hang out with the puppy for 15 minutes, so can't beat that.
And now there's like a pet a goat or something
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
really cool.
Yeah.
They're like baby goats or something.
Aw.
It's awesome.
Okay, so my favorite place is Starbucks because I like coffee and it keeps me awake. So yeah, Starbucks, and then because it's right there in the Union, so you can grab your coffee if the line is decent, and then go sit down in the student union. So that's my favorite place.
Awesome. I don't know what my favorite place would be. I'm always torn between the student union and the quad, between CHHS and co-ed, because there's always so many people going through both.
I guess it depends if it's raining or not.
Yeah, that is very true. That is very, very true. So with classes, obviously we're taking all these different types of courses, and we have the instructor to help us. Are there any other ways that students can receive academic help outside of the instructor?
Everywhere. There's definitely many options. I mean, I always stress to people that UNC Charlotte really wants you to succeed. They're not just kind of like throwing you for the wolves. Like, they really, truly want you to succeed. So with that, you have the University Center for Academic Excellence, which basically means you can get 1 free tutoring session per class per week. And I think that's super helpful for me, especially I'm taking accounting right now, and I am there religiously every week. They also have supplemental instruction. So if you want kind of more of a laid-back setting and less of a commitment, those are about 4 or 5 times a week for a lot of the general education courses, and you can just kind of go and kind of review what's been going on during the week, and those are taught by students who have received A's in those classes.
Awesome. And then, since you are a resident advisor, we just had another question. How does Wi-Fi work out in the residence halls?
Oh, Wi-Fi is great.
Yeah?
I haven't had any issues with the Wi-Fi at all. The university always is continuously updating the Wi-Fi just because the university is continuously growing and we're having more students live on campus. So obviously there's going to need to be some updates, but I've never had any issues with it.
Awesome. So when we were just talking about classes a little bit earlier, class size can somewhat be a barrier to a lot of students. So talk about that, your large class experience, your small class experience. What was it like to be in a large class here at UNC Charlotte?
I think they might be able to talk more about the large classes because of the major specific stuff. But our Our average class size is about 30 students. Once you get up into your major, that's kind of the average size your classes are going to be. Being an English major, my classes really lend themselves to being discussion-based because it's really hard to have an English class where you're discussing texts and novels be 100 plus people because that would be chaos. So my classes are usually 35 people or less once I'm in my major courses.
Awesome.
So your liberal studies classes may be a little bit larger. The largest class I've ever had was about 250 people, and that was a general psychology class that every freshman on campus was trying to take for a science credit. But my smallest class has been 11 people. So I've had a really wide range, but all of them have been very personal, very keyed to the students. So that's really great. I don't know if you guys have.
I think it also kind of depends on the course that you're taking. So I know for some of our math courses, you have the option of, if you look when you're registering, some of the classes will be like limited to 40 seats. So I definitely try to go for those just because math is something I kind of need to be more on a personal level, as well as your general education university writing courses. Those are going to be capped at around 20 to 25 students, as well as my Spanish minor. I know those classes are I had to email the professor and try to get in this course. I really needed it. But they definitely cap those as well, just so you can kind of get those hands-on experience. With your larger classes, like the general psychology, I'm in that one right now. And yes, that has 300 students, and I came from a relatively small school too. My graduating class has 75 students in it. So I understand, but I'm literally in the third row. I've never felt distracted or anything like that. So I think there's a way to kind of balance being in the large classes and being in the small classes, and I don't think it's an overwhelming, intimidating kind of environment.
Coming in as a freshman, I had that general biology course that everybody kind of has to get out of the way with that science. And it had, the classroom itself had 298 seats in it, so a larger classroom space. Again, coming from a high school with a graduating class of 55 students. So big change for me, but I just chose not to sit in the last row, but not to sit in the very front row either. I chose kind of a little bit comfort zone in the middle, but definitely, your professor will provide office hours on your syllabus the first day of class. And so I went to his office hours and just shook his hand and said, "Hey, my name is," and so then it became this thing. If I had a question in class, I could raise my hand and he would know my name. And so I made this personal connection with the professor, so that way it felt comfortable to go to him and ask questions.
Awesome. Yeah, I think one of the really cool things with professors too, a lot of my experience specifically being in the business college, they've actually had real world experience where some worked in the healthcare industry, the financial industry, so being able to bring not only the textbook perspective, but also the real world perspective also allows me to learn a lot more. So it's really interesting to be a part of. One thing that was also just asked too is about recreation, how to get fit here on campus. So what kind of ways do we have in order to stay athletic and, good and healthy and all that good stuff?
Well, the campus has a lot of hills, so we like to joke and say that the freshman 15 doesn't exist because you're really walking uphill half of your day. Yeah. But we do have 2 student athletic facilities on campus, so if you're looking to just go to the gym and kind of just do the elliptical or the treadmill, you can do that. They also have classes, so if you want to do Zumba, if you want to do yoga, we have 49er which is like a version of P90X. So there's definitely many ways to get involved, and at the beginning of each semester, there's a fitness sampler, and you can kind of try about 4 or 5 different classes in a short amount of time to kind of see which one's going to work best for you. I tried Zumba. I made a fool of myself. I did not go back. I just stick to the elliptical, but hey, there's something for everyone.
And then do we check out laptops here at the university?
We do.
We do?
Yeah. You can check them out actually at the front desk in the library at UNC Charlotte, and they'll check them out to you for 24 hours. And as long as you don't do any damage to it in 24 hours or the power cord they give you and bring it back to them in time, you don't get charged. You don't have to have a laptop as a student here at UNC Charlotte unless you're in engineering or architecture. They do have some stipulations about that, more because of software and all they need to have to complete their courses. But we do have those options. Our library also has hundreds of computers all throughout it, and the library is open 24 hours, 5 days a week during the school year, and then a little more limited hours on the weekend, and then 24/7 during exam week. So we have a lot of opportunities to have access to that material if we need it.
Now, when it comes to college, there's obviously the academic side and more of the social side. So thinking about that, how have you physically gotten involved on campus outside the organization? So when you come here as a student, what fun things are there here to do at UNC Charlotte?
Well, we have the campus activities board, and they're basically in charge of making different events making them happen on campus. So I know someone asked a question about Holy Moly earlier today, and then we have different, Luke Keegley was here just a few weeks ago. Sean Johnson has been here. John Quiones. So yeah, they definitely kind of keep us keep us entertained. There's been comedy shows on campus. There's you can make cupcakes one day. They had like a Build-A-Bear type of setup one day in the student union. So really, like, there's something happening every single day. And some days I'll walk around campus and be like, well, there's a lot going on right now. But I always tell people, like, if you're bored at UNC Charlotte, it's not because the university itself is boring. It's because you haven't gone out and explored the city. That's why I came from Baltimore, but I like going into the city, exploring North Davidson, which we like to call NODA, which is kind of like the artsy district. Going into the city and going to the museums. There's food truck Fridays. Like, there's just so many things that you can do that are off campus. So it just kind of gives you the full college experience without kind of being stuck on campus all day.
Not to mention the professional sports, if you're
Oh, yeah.
interested in that. We've got the Panthers, which, maybe next year. But we've got that. We've got the Checkers, which is our hockey team. We've got the Charlotte Knights, which is baseball, and they're up and running right now. So that's a lot of fun.
And the Hornets, too.
And the Hornets. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Can't forget basketball.
Buzz City.
Yeah, absolutely.
Crazy. So what are some of the general education courses that are required for freshmen? So going back to your freshman and sophomore year, what are some of those classes you had to take?
Well, you can always check our admissions website. If you just go to admissions.uncc.edu, they'll have all of the very specific information that you need if you're concerned about course requirements or anything like that. But the general stuff is you're gonna have to take freshman writing courses, at least 2 of them. You're gonna have 2 maths, sciences. You're gonna have to do a science with the lab. Some majors require a language requirement, others don't. You'll have to check specifically in your major for those kind of things. So kind of your general stuff that you still have experience coming in if you're coming from high school, or you may have knocked out of the way if you're transferring in at your community college. So just kind of general stuff. But it's good. It's good to get an idea of what the university offers and kind of take some courses outside of your comfort zone, because I would not have done that if I didn't have to. And I actually found a lot of things that I actually have an interest in, like art and being creative, that I didn't know existed in me. So it's a good thing for you.
Yeah. Awesome. And also, too, a question was just asked about classes that are required for certain majors. So I know, being a business major, we actually have that curriculum guide that's given to us, and it pretty much says all the classes that you need to take. It won't go specifically in the electives because they change semester by semester. So you have a curriculum guide set out by each college depending on the major or department that you're going to be in. But yeah, I use that thing all the time.
I have it hanging up in my room. My mom has one, and she checks off all the
highlighter.
She's like, you're graduating in 4 years, and she checks off everything I'm supposed to be taking. So I definitely would say go to your specific college, get the curriculum guide, and kind of start out knowing exactly the path that you need to take in order to graduate.
And we also have academic advisors. So if you're coming in as a freshman and you're undeclared, you will have an advisor in the university college to kind of guide you through those general education courses. But if you come in with a major declared, you will have an academic advisor in your major, and they will have those sheets for you. And they'll be able to say, this is exactly what you need to take, this is when it's offered, this is when you need to try and schedule everything. And they'll do everything they can and work with you to try and get it all taken care of. So you're not on your own.
And typically the curriculum guides are online. You just have to search, say for like business operations, supply chain management, you would just Google UNC Charlotte Curriculum Guide for Business, or UNC Charlotte Curriculum Guide for any other department or major. However, if you can't find it, you just email or contact the respective department or contact the undergraduate admissions office. So you have those 2 choices as well. And then also, so we just talked about football a little bit earlier, and we talked about the recreational aspects. So tell me a little bit about intramural sports, club sports. How does that work out? I said work out.
Ton of, no pun intended, right?
I know, it was rather funny.
We have a lot of intramural sports that are offered. There's everything from, I believe, do the freshmen still do water dodgeball and water polo?
The pool's open back up.
Now the pool's back open, we can do all those again. Basketball, soccer, slow pitch softball. We've kind of got anything and everything you might want here as far as intramurals go. And they're really fun because you can play at a competitive level if you played in high school but you don't want to maybe do at the D1 level, like we have our our big sports. You can play in the competitive league. We have co-ed, we have single gender, we have kind of just a laid back field option. So if you don't want to play competitively, you don't have to. And you usually only play about like 5 or 6 games a season, or intramural season. So it's pretty easy to do, get involved in. We have several intramural fields around campus. There's some on campus kind of near our soccer facilities that our soccer teams will use as their practice facilities when they're in season. And then we have quite a few just across the street that we also use a lot. So we do have those
Yeah,
options.
there's a lot of variety when it comes to different types of sports. I mean, you could be riding a horse, or you could be going on a
They have,
water
like,
water
golf.
tube playing water polo.
We have frisbee golf, mini golf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know we had frisbee golf.
We have
Interesting.
everything.
That's the one where it has like the basket, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha. Now, another question is, all of us had to go through SOAR. So that is our student orientation and registration. So who wants to describe a little bit about that?
SOAR is basically, if you have any questions about the university, if you have any questions about registration or classes, that's where you're going to get it all answered. There's a whole bunch of workshops that you kind of have to go through. There's some for you and there's some specific for your parents as well, so that your parents aren't just sitting. It's a 2-day process for most students, so your parents aren't just sitting around while you're going through all these sessions. They have sessions of their own as well. Our orientation counselors are great. They're so excited to have you here. They want to make this the best experience for you as well. So you kind of go through the whole day. There's you can go into the Student Activity Center, and they have a whole bunch of different student organizations. You can start getting involved right then and there. I remember I signed up to get all of the text message alerts for all of our sporting events, so that I can get a free T-shirt. So they give you a free T-shirt. I think you may have been able to climb the rock climbing wall while you were there. So they just kind of give you like a quick overview of the university before you get there. And then the final thing that you do when you're there is register for your classes, and your orientation counselors are there to kind of help you out and say, okay, there's no way you can get from this class to this class in 15 minutes. You might want to find one closer, or just kind of little things like that that'll kind of help you out so that when you get here, you're not completely overwhelmed.
And typically, isn't it right, if you're an incoming freshman, you have to spend the night?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
And that's
Stay in
fun
lunch
too.
hall.
They had like movie nights. I know my year we had like popcorn, and people were just kind of hanging out, just kind of get to know people and kind of see like the variety of people and the diversity that this university has.
And another really cool question was posed, getting a lot of free stuff here on campus when it comes to T-shirts, a bunch of giveaways, souvenirs. Who here thinks they have the most free stuff? Yeah.
Probably. I don't know.
It's crazy.
This was free.
I have no proof because it's all
This
been
one
free
was
food.
free. This
So
shirt
I
was
have
free.
no proof.
That shirt I got for free.
Yeah. There's always a lot of options too. Like a bunch of different departments and organizations will bring stuff to football games or come right out to the front of the union sponsoring a bunch of different events. A bunch of free
I would
stuff.
say like the first 2 weeks of school,
pretty
like
good.
go to everything because they're offering.
Just stand in front
That
of the
week of
union. Just
welcome.
stand.
Yeah, we go well, and if they're not offering like T-shirts or like fun goodies, like little like teddy bears or things like that,
water
they give you
bottles.
pizza or hamburgers. They'll do free drinks like sodas and waters and stuff. Like it's awesome. Yeah, go collect all that
My
stuff.
freshman year, the football team was giving out footballs. You had to just like catch them. We were all so nervous, like, oh my god, I'm gonna drop it. I remember that. I don't think I caught mine, to be honest with you. I don't think I did.
Awesome. So, all of us have lived on campus, right? Mm-hmm. Which one would you say was your favorite option? Or it could be the current one. What is your favorite place to live on campus?
Well, I only ever lived in Witherspoon Hall, and it's a sweet option, and I really enjoyed that. I kind of got placed there being in the Honors College, so that is the honors housing currently. They actually are getting Levine Hall as of next year, so that's gonna be really, really nice because it's brand new. The honors offices are actually gonna all be in there, so you don't even have to leave the residence hall to go and meet with the people from honors there or have classes for honors. So that's gonna be really convenient. But living in the suites was really nice because I had a roommate in the room with me as well, just like you would in like a traditional residence hall. But then we also had 2 other suite mates that had their room, but then we all 4 just shared a bathroom. So there was only 4 of us to a bathroom. However, we did have to clean it and take care of it. So if you want to take on that responsibility, it was a great option and highly, highly recommend living on campus. That's where I met my room. I actually have only ever lived with the same people too. We still live together today, 4 years later. So being randomly placed worked out really, really well for us. And if I hadn't lived on campus, I wouldn't have met them. So.
I've only ever lived in Hunt Hall. I was placed there my freshman year, and then I got placed there as a resident advisor this year. So that's a suite style. It's either a 2-bedroom suite or a 4-bedroom suite. You can see those layouts online. Next year, I will be living in Belk Hall, which is an apartment. So that's more of an upperclassman option. I'll be a junior, so obviously I think I deserve a kitchen, maybe. maybe not. So I think living on campus, I always say if I didn't live on campus, there's so many events that I wouldn't go to because it's like, it would be like, oh, I have to drive, oh, I have to find parking. Where here it's like, okay, I'm just gonna leave and I'll be there in 10 minutes. So I think it's definitely, a little bit easier to get involved on campus, especially your freshman year, because I know North Carolina students can come down here and they'll probably know at least one other person from their high school. But when I came here, I literally knew not a single person. So I think definitely living on campus was the best option, so that I wasn't always in my room. I was kind of out and about, going to the dining halls, going to the student union, going to different events on campus. They have comedy shows. I think they had the women from Girl Code come my freshman year. So just little events like that to kind of get you out of your comfort zone a little bit quicker than if you were off campus.
Yeah, I mean, I will say I lived in Lynch Hall for that learning community purpose on freshman year, and it's set up the same way Hunt is. And people just leave their doors open. So you walk by and there's people with their door open, and you're like, hey, how are you? My name is. It's just a great way to meet people that if you're, not living on campus, you may not get to meet as many people.
And I believe now freshmen are allowed to live in traditional, suite, and apartment style. This is the first time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah, we don't
So obviously we just talked about living on campus. So when it comes to eating on campus, how would you describe the food at the dining halls? And what are our 2 dining halls?
The food is good. Food's really good. Our 2 dining halls are South Village Dining and Crown Commons. We call them Crown and Sovi for short because we like to shorten everything here.
Love our acronyms.
Love the acronyms. But Sovi just opened up last year. Yeah, it's been a year already. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
AJ and gifts. Yeah.
Ooh, that feels just like yesterday. But it's huge. Really? Dang, I missed birthday cake.
It was really good.
I should have been there.
Man. But yeah, so it's new. It's a really, really nice facility. It's huge, and there's so many different options. So if you're a vegetarian, if you have specific dining needs, you can just let them know, and they will take care of you. You can make sandwiches, salad bar, soups. They always have like a home cooked aisle that you can go down. You've got something different every meal, and so it's really good. Crown is the same food, so it's the same people. So it's just as good as Sovi. And we have a ton of fast food options around campus. So if you're just jumping between classes and you need to pick something up real quick at Chick-fil-A or Subway or Panda Express, you can do that as well.
There's food everywhere.
Everywhere.
And even if you're not at a dining hall, there's going to be a professor that's going to have candy for you, or your friends are going to bring cookies. I went to my mailbox in Hunt Hall the other day, and there was just cookies in there, and I was like, oh, thank you. I don't know who these are from, but thank you. So there's really, food is everywhere. It really, college. College and the food.
I know, it's delicious.
A lot of food.
There's a lot of food.
So when it comes to parking, a lot of questions are asked, how does parking work at UNC Charlotte? So whoever wants to take that one?
So freshmen are allowed to have cars here on campus, and parking generally works if you're a resident here on campus. You get a specific on-campus resident parking pass. So the past 3 years I've been here, it's been blue every time. But the nice thing about parking at UNC Charlotte is with your resident hall, your parking is pretty close. You're paying for convenience, so it's really nice and convenient. And then if you're a commuter student, you'll, commuting from home, you'll have a different pass, and it'll be, I've seen it as yellow, yeah. Greek Life has, white ones if you're in Greek Village living. So it just, there's different parking passes for where you're living, but for me, parking's not ever been an issue. It's always been pretty easy to park here on campus.
And I know everyone wants to have their car freshman year. My parents, who are probably watching this right now, my parents did not let me have my car freshman year, and I was devastated. I was like, how am I supposed to go to the mall? So I learned how to online shop a little bit more. But even if you do not bring your car on campus, or if you don't have a car, that's not an option for you, you're completely fine. I think about 4 or 5 students in my area on my hall had their cars, so when I had to fly home, or if I had to go to the grocery store, I'd be like, hey, I'll pay you $10 to take me to the grocery store. And they, college kids would do anything. So my neighbors were more than willing to help me out. So I never felt like not having my car on campus was a disadvantage. And this year I'm kind of I drive way too much and I pay way too much for gas. So I kind of liked it last year. But I was fine. I didn't suffer. I was okay.
And with that too, even though you may not have a car on campus, you have the on-campus transportation. So that's really convenient. And I believe it runs from normal business hours from 6 in the morning to 10 at night. And they stop about, every 10, 15 minutes?
Yeah, there's that app.
Yeah, they do have that app. Yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
So yeah, we have a Next Ride app that you can actually download on your smartphone device, and it will tell you when the next bus will come through. So you're not sitting at the bus stop waiting for long periods of time. You can actually wait in your residence hall and see, oh, it's coming in 15 minutes, so I should probably head out. So yeah, that's really convenient, and then that way you know when the next stop is. You can really, it runs off GPS tracking device, so you can watch it move on the thing. So it's really cool.
Yeah. And UNC Charlotte is really interactive with your smartphone. So instance, you can have the Next Ride app, and also doesn't the police and public safety also have something to do where they send out text messages? Yeah. So talk a little bit about campus safety. What's been your experience with that?
I've been here for 4 years, and I've never had a problem with campus safety. UNC Charlotte is really nice and convenient because it's all really close together. You can walk across campus in like 15 minutes. So there's not a lot of roads you have to cross. There's not any issues like that. Being a large campus, you would think we have, but we don't because of the way they've strategically designed our campus. We have the blue light system on campus, and there's hundreds of them all over the place. If you're standing at one, you can be able to turn a circle and see another one. So those have a big red button on them that you can push. If you just feel uncomfortable walking home from the library because it's 3 a.m, they will come meet you and they'll help you get home safely. If you are allergic to bees and you get stung in the middle of summer and you don't have your EpiPen, you can push it and they will come bring medical help to help you. So everything that's there for you. The Live Safe app that you were talking about, that came out this year for us. You can download it to any smartphone device. That works as a mobile red button, blue light. So you can actually put in there like where you are, where you're heading, and your roommates can see it. The police here can see it on our campus. And if you, for some reason, don't get where you're supposed to in the time period it probably should take you, they can notify the police right from the app and let them know and kind of show where it tracked you last. So safety is a big priority here. Being in the city, they're very conscious of that, and they're constantly taking that into consideration. We have our own section of police as well, the UNC Charlotte Police. They're fully trained police officers. They interchange with the CMPD continually, so they are real. Please take them seriously. I've watched them arrest people on campus for poking their buttons, speeding tickets, everything. And we also have undercover cops as well that are just walking around on campus dressed like the students here, so you would never know. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, they have, and we always have at least 6 to 10 officers on campus on any given day of the year, whether it's a holiday, whether it's spring break, they're still here. And of course, when there's students around, there's a whole lot more than that. So they take it very, very seriously here.
And they're really approachable too. They'll definitely strike a conversation.
Really friendly.
With you.
They're very friendly.
Absolutely. And you mentioned a little bit about like medicine and stuff like that. So can students get their medicine here on campus?
So we have our student health center. So I went in there and I really compared it to Grey's Anatomy. I went for like an ear infection, but it basically looks like Grey's Anatomy. You go in. For students, you can, like, the university can provide you with health insurance, or there's a fee that you can get waived if you have your own insurance as well. So there is a full functioning pharmacy there. So if you do need to have your prescriptions transferred to the university, that is something you're able to do. There's also physical therapy in that building as well. So say you have some injury that you need to take care of, you can do that there. And they're very approachable. You just have to make your appointments online. You can probably head in the next day or two if it's something urgent. Obviously, they'll tell you to go to the hospital, which is literally 5 minutes away, right up the road. So if you ever have any concerns about your medication, or if you just need to have a quick checkup or something like that, that's definitely something you can do.
So coming into college, you're obviously with like 28,000 other students. So there's a lot of different opportunities, specifically also with leadership. So coming in as a freshman or even a transfer, how can they get involved with all these different like types of leadership opportunities?
The way I got involved freshman year right off the bat is we have the Office for Leadership Development on campus. They're in the student union. They're really approachable. You just walk in and say, hey, what opportunities do you have? And they'll be happy to hand you their flyers, give you all their information. That's a really great place to find out about leadership opportunities on campus. But they also have a freshman-only program called Emerging Leaders, which is where you actually get, it's kind of like having another class in your spring semester freshman year, but it's only once a week, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's where you just come together with a group of about 50 other freshmen. You have seminars on how to be a public speaker, how to present yourself in an interview, skills that you wouldn't think you would need to learn as a freshman, things that you might think, oh, I will need this when I'm interviewing for a job 4 years later. But like they've proved to be really, really beneficial in getting connections, getting future internships, things like that. So that was how I got involved, learning how to be a leader, but you also meet 50 other people interested in leadership that are likely somehow involved elsewhere on campus. So that's kind of how I also connected to other opportunities later on down the road.
For me, I kind of took a back seat my freshman year, first semester, because I was overly involved in high school. I was head of a lot of clubs. So my first semester here, I kind of took a back seat and kind of looked at the 350 organizations on campus and tried to find what was going to be the best fit for me. So with that, I was a member of the Sports Marketing Association, and basically they help out with all of our sporting events on campus. They help out with the halftime shows, all the games, and things like that. So that was I'm a marketing major, so that was something I was really passionate about. And then I found Niner Guide the next semester, and that was probably like one of the best things ever. I love being a tour guide. I love giving someone that UNC Charlotte experience once a week. And then from there, they just kind of started to build on one by one. So then came cheerleading, then became resident advisor, and then I feel like you always have the opportunity to find something new without overwhelming yourself, because you need to know yourself and know what you can handle and the time commitments that you're going to need to keep up with your academics. But there's definitely so many opportunities, and they're literally like throwing them at you. Like, they want us to be involved. This is our university. We have staked our claim, and we need to make sure everyone knows that.
Do you have anything you want to say?
Stephanie covered it.
Yeah, awesome.
She really did.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things coming into college, you really want to do the most you can, and a lot of people come in trying to sign up for 10 organizations, like I did, and then you slowly start regretting it because it's really hard to spread out all that time to different organizations.
All your orgs are going to end up meeting on the same day. It happens
know.
at least in the same weekend. You have like 5 meetings in one day. I'm like, oh boy, this is going to be awful.
So what would you say, how do you accommodate, like with time management, all these different opportunities and occupations that you have here at the school? How do you struggle with how do you deal with all the potential stress there is with being a college student?
I know I have like a huge calendar in my room on my wall, and then I also have my individual planner that I take to my class or my meetings. I am a work study student here on campus. I forgot to mention that earlier, but yeah, I do have a job here on campus. So I am a work study student. I'm a Niner Guide. Several organizations plus schoolwork and stuff. It is a lot, but I think that's one thing where you have to establish that organization and teach yourself to do it. So that way you can, remember, okay, I have to go from class, and then I have this break to fit in food, gotta fit in food, and then I have this meeting, and then somehow you gotta throw in homework in there. So, you best. I know freshman year, my bedtime, my body shuts down at like 10 p.m. But all the other kids would be, I know that's early, sorry, Grandma. But all the other kids would stay up till 12. But I knew myself, I had a certain amount of time that I had to get my homework done. So it's just something that you know yourself better than anyone else. And so you have to learn to time management and organize your schedule.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And like Caitlin was saying, it's important to make time for food. It is very hard. It's very easy to forget to eat. But I also, personally, I have to make time for my naps. Like, I have to have a nap. If I can have time for my naps, I'm going to make time for my naps, because you're going to be doing so. It's not like school, your normal like high school schedule where I was there, I know, from 8 to 3. It's not like you're done after 3 and you can kind of go home and get ready for dinner and things like that. You might have 2 classes at 10 and 2, and then you have dinner at 5, and then you have an organization meeting at 7, and another one at 8, and then you might have to do your homework starting at 9:30, 10 o'clock. So it's like you have to be able to, some of your days may never truly end per se, so you need to make sure that you have the time for your naps. I like my naps. My roommates know I take my naps.
Schedules always vary depending on the student. It's crazy. And then Caitlin, you mentioned that you were in work study. Can you elaborate on that a little bit more?
So work study is something that I was given through the financial aid office. I was awarded it through financial aid. And so, the HR office is great here on campus, and so I went through the HR office and looked through tons of applications, basically beginning in August, or job applications out there, and filtered through, and I applied to several of them, and chose which one I wanted to work in the best, and it ended up being a great fit, and I've stayed in the office, and this is my 3rd year in that same office now, so it's been a great fit for me.
Sweet. So also with that, when you talked about having a different schedule, do freshmen typically have all their classes at 8 in the morning?
No, you don't have to.
No. I'm a senior here, and I've had one 8 a.m. in my entire career.
I've had
That's awesome.
Yeah, I didn't have class till 11 my freshman year, and I was so stoked. Some 9:30s, but they're not that bad.
For next semester, actually, I scheduled an 8 a.m. because the teacher's really great. So, and I'm slightly a morning person. It depends on the day, but if I know I'm going and the teacher is gonna be great, and I'm gonna do well in the class, and I think it's definitely worth it. But yeah, you're not gonna get stuck with all 8 a.m.s, I promise. The way that they do SOAR, last time I heard, is that they don't, like if you come to the first source session and your friend doesn't come to the last source session, they still might be able to get in the same class as you because they don't open up all the seats for each source session. So if for the first source session, if there's an accounting class at 12:30 that everybody wants because they want to sleep in, they're not going to open all the seats for that class for the first source session so that everyone has an equal opportunity to get in their classes. And that was not there when I was a freshman, so you guys are going to be lucky with that one.
Yeah. And Emily, you said you lived in Witherspoon Hall, right? Which is home to currently home to our honors college before they go into Levine Hall.
Yes.
So we have one question that says, pretty much they're in the honors college, but they want to room with someone who's not in the honors college. And how will this affect them, I guess? They were just wondering about that.
Well, the way only kids who are in the honors college are able to live in the honors housing because that's allotted to them and that's specific for them. So unfortunately, if you want to live with somebody who's not in the honors college, you're not going to be able to live there unless you're willing to sacrifice living with that person. But that doesn't negatively affect you at all. The honors college doesn't like get a list that says this is who lives here, give them priority for this, this, and this. That's not how it works. If you're in the honors college and you are current with what you need to have to be an active member, you still get the priority registration, you still get everything that you need whether you live in Witherspoon or not. So the housing thing is more just a perk that you get. So if you want to have the suite option and be guaranteed that housing, you can, but it's not like they mandate that you have to live there. If you have somewhere else that you've preferenced, you can still be on the honors college and live there too.
And then two, when you come to the class, obviously you have that man or woman of the hour, the instructor. So what has been your experience with the instructors here at UNC Charlotte?
They're great. They are. I don't think I have yet to have a negative experience with any of my professors, and I think that's something really important to stress, that if I have to go to office hours, if I have questions during class, they're going to be willing to help me. I've never felt rushed to the information. They can point me in the right direction to get other resources on campus. So I don't think I think our professors are great. I think it is important, especially in business, that a lot of our professors have that hands-on experience. Absolutely. And I know my accounting teacher is a certified CPA, and he actually came back years later and decided that he wanted to teach. So it wasn't like he came out of the, college and went right into teaching. He started as an actual accountant and then came for teaching. So that's definitely helpful when we have real-life examples and real-life, he has real-life experience with the field that he's trying to teach us.
So I think I've never had a negative experience either. Like I said, my classes are generally smaller, so you get the chance to really get to know them. Like you said, you scheduled an 8 a.m. because you knew the professor was great. I've had several professors multiple times over just because I purposely took their class because whether they were my absolute favorite or not, I knew how they worked and I could deal with that. So I think the biggest thing coming into college is just being understanding that they are the authority figure and be respectful and kind of approach them on those terms, and definitely don't walk in there if you go into office hours, go in saying, hey, I don't understand this, I need your help. Don't be like upfront about it, because then they might get their bristles up a little bit because they are definitely experts in their fields, but they are all very approachable. They're here to help us. That's their job. So if they didn't enjoy that, they wouldn't be here. So definitely take advantage of them because there's some very bright people on this campus.
Yeah. I will say at the end, there's always those professor evaluations. So positive or negative feedback, that's a very professional way to get your voice heard, about that professor. And so I think, every professor I've encountered has always said, even first day of class, well, I got this feedback about pop quizzes or my tests last semester, so I kind of tweaked a little bit for this semester. So they really do value those opinions, and I think that's a great resource too to get your voice heard about a professor.
And those are anonymous, and they don't get to see them until after final grades are already in, so that doesn't affect us at all. So.
Yeah. Now, one of the best things that I really pride upon about UNC Charlotte is the diversity. So how would you guys elaborate more on that with the diversity here at our university?
I think UNC Charlotte was the first school that I visited out of all the schools I visited where I could physically see the diversity when I was walking around campus, and that was something very important to me because my high school was not very diverse at all. So I definitely wanted to see different races, religions, personalities, just kind of, you never know what you're going to get here. I could walk up to somebody and have a completely different experience that I was expecting to have, and I think that's something that is important because when we get into the real world, it's not just going to be everyone that looks the same, everyone that acts the same. It's going to be so many different people and so many different personalities. So I think that's helpful in group projects or just learning about different cultures. I think is something very important to do. And I think Campus Activities Board does a great job of kind of keeping us involved with what's going on campus, or like our campus ministries, or just different. We have such a variety of organizations that just kind of show the diversity within itself, but just being able to walk around campus and see that as well is something that is just amazing to me.
Yeah, so you studied abroad, but I was going to mention too, with the diversity, and we have an international fest on campus every year. So yeah, great food, and it, for me, I'm not comfortable, I guess, just sending myself away from home that long or that far. So kudos to you for going away out of the country. But so yeah, I'm not that comfortable. So the International Fest gives me a chance to walk around on campus and see the different countries showcased by the students who are from those countries. They're dressed in their general outfits that they wear in their countries from their cultures, and the food that they have. It's a great experience, and it's something that you don't have to leave the campus, go study abroad, take that leap if you're not comfortable with it. It's a great opportunity, great experience here at UNC Charlotte.
And about study abroad, do you want to talk a little bit about that, your experience?
Yeah, my experience, great experience studying abroad. I highly recommend it for anyone even considering it. Check into it, do it. It's amazing. UNC Charlotte, they offer a lot of opportunities for us to study abroad. They really push for us to do that, and it's really, really easy actually to do it. So we can go for a semester or a year, depending on what you're comfortable doing. I went for a summer program because I wasn't able to leave during semester. Since I'm a teacher, there are certain obligations I have to do within schools here, and it gets a little tricky when you take it out of the country for licensure purposes. So that wasn't realistic for me semesterly, but I was able to go last summer. I was in Manchester, England for about 2 months, just under 2 months, and that was like the perfect amount of time because I love to travel and I love going other places. So that wasn't like outside of my comfort zone for me, but for someone who was, because many of the people on the trip with me maybe weren't super comfortable either, it was like the perfect amount of time to get integrated into the culture and get a different look at the world. But just about when you started really missing home, it was time to go home. So there are those options. That's one of the longer summer programs that we have. A lot of them are anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks usually. Mine was about a 6.5 week program. So those are certainly some options there. We also have spring break programs. So you actually, one of my sisters did it this year and she had an amazing time. But you basically have a class where you meet with your professor here on campus once or twice throughout the beginning of the semester, and then you actually go for 10 days over spring break to whatever country or program you're doing. And then when you come back, you kind of like do your follow-up academic work and you get 3 hours academic credit for it. So. And the nice thing about like the summer programs is they're all led by a UNC Charlotte professor that goes with you. So you're not completely on your own, and you're going with UNC Charlotte students. So you have, whether you know them or not at the beginning, by the end of it, you know them very, very well, and you have familiar faces with you. So highly recommend studying abroad. Look into it if you're even curious, because it's a great opportunity.
And then being a resident advisor, so you've had a lot of experience with the roommates, the difficulties, the ups, the downs, the room search policy. You want to elaborate about that kind of stuff?
So at UNC Charlotte, we do not have our specific roommate survey per se, because we feel that people aren't as honest on those and they just kind of want a good roommate. So basically, for my personal experience, I went into the class of 2018 Facebook group, and that is where I found my roommate and my best friends. So that's kind of where you start. But with that process, you just kind of can put in there your potential roommate's information, and 9 times out of 10, if you have it all put together, the assignments office will literally just like drag and drop you into a room, and that'll probably be in one of your top options. Once you get to your room, each semester there's going to be kind of like a list, like a honey-do list of kind of what students want in what students kind of really want in their specific room. So there's going to be rules for the entire building. So you vote for visitation and things like that. But then afterwards, you're going to make a kind of a list of things that you want specifically for your room. So if you want this between 5 and 7 to be quiet because that's going to be your study hour, or you want to make sure there's no guests after 10 p.m., things like that. That's something that you can customize for yourself. And then if things don't work out, things arise throughout the year. Obviously, that's kind of what I'm there for. That's what they're paying me for. So if there are really any issues at all on campus, I have duty nights probably about once a week. So if there's any issues that I need to take care of, I'm kind of like in charge of the building for about 8 hours.
Awesome. Thanks for the response. So it looks like we're almost about out of time. So I'm going to pose one more question to our panel. So what is your favorite tradition while being here at UNC Charlotte?
My favorite tradition would be homecoming week. The whole week is like just an awesome experience. They do the lights parade the night before the big game on Saturday. And that's where different organizations on campus can make floats and they put lights on them and balloons. They usually throw candy, which is why I'm always there because you talk about that free stuff. I'm there. They give out T-shirts. They have all the football players, cheerleaders, dance team. They're all out performing. Kind of takeover. We have our union takeovers once a month through the campus activities board when the union stays open late for students and they have fun events. That month, it's always on that weekend, and we just have a big pep rally. So the coaches come out and you get to meet them and talk to them, and it's just a really, really fun experience. But there's also stuff going on throughout the entire week. So there's competitions between different groups on campus. There's campus cleanups, so if you want to give back to campus, making it pretty for homecoming. And then of course all the alumni coming back onto campus. It's really cool to get to talk to them because our campus is rapidly changing. Like he said, we're being a part of this history and hearing from people who are also a part of it, but many years before is a really cool experience.
Absolutely.
You took everything I was gonna say.
Add to it.
Yeah, I definitely think homecoming week is probably one of my favorite traditions on campus because the lights parade and kind of being a cheerleader. I actually got to cheer the homecoming game. It was my first homecoming game that I got to cheer. So kind of seeing the atmosphere with all the alumni there and cheering into the alumni section was just kind of like a great experience, and you just kind of see what UNC Charlotte is capable of as far as school spirit and our alumni as well as current students. So that's definitely something that I think was really great. I know my parents drove down at 3 o'clock in the morning just to make it in time for the game. It's just an amazing environment to be on the field and see our football team and see all of our peers just in the stadium and just the environment that kind of comes about with homecoming, because again, it's not just the game, it's a comedy show, it's I know there was funnel cake, I keep thinking of the funnel cake, there was funnel cake, and there's just the parades, and you meet the homecoming court throughout the week and things like that, and then the homecoming king and queen and prince and princess are crowned during halftime at the football game. So just that kind of environment, and just kind of to see like, okay, we voted for these people to represent our university, and kind of seeing all that come to life all at the end of homecoming week is really great.
So mine's the 49er Gold Rush 5K event, and my friends and I all like to sign up and go for the T-shirt, and then we run our couple laps around campus, and then we go to IHOP and shove our face with pancakes. So it kind of defeats the purpose of the run, but that's definitely something that I've established with all my friends since freshman year, and it's something we love to do.
Yeah, I think my favorite tradition has always been the first home football game every single season. Just having that hype again, seeing the whole stadium, which seats about 15,000 individuals, just painted in green, gold, and white. Then the fireworks come out, Norm, our mascot, comes. It's just awesome to be a part of. But yeah, so I want to thank you guys so much for posing all the questions to us. If we were unable to answer any of your questions, feel free to look at the chat box below for the Twitter, or also email us at admissions@uncc.edu. So thank you again so much. Thank you, Emily, Stephanie, and Caitlin, for offering pretty much your experience here at UNC Charlotte. Other than that, have a great afternoon, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Go Niners.